there, this is Sarah Ayler with Softflex Company, and today I'm going to show you how to make a few different components that I used in this design that I made on a Facebook Live design challenge. If you aren't friends with us on Facebook, definitely go on Facebook and like our page. We do live design challenges about every other week, sometimes once a month, but lately every other week. And it allows me an opportunity to play with different types of materials and things that I've never used before. So this time I was playing around with these really cool fiber cords that my friend Nilay Patel had sent to me. He used these fiber cords in his latest book, which is called Jewelry Made with Wire and Fiber. It's this guy here. It's brand new, out on the market, spring 2017. So I got the opportunity to play around with some of these fiber cords and then our Softflex craft wire, which is the wire that he used in some of the projects in the book. So I'm using a 20 gauge craft wire, and our craft wire is pretty great. It's a copper based wire. It is hypoallergenic and non-tarnishing. It comes in lots of different great colors. This is just a basic silver, but we have, things like antique copper or black. Here's a silver plated lavender, so it comes in some bright, really beautiful colors as well. And it comes in various gauges too. It comes from 28 gauge up to 18 gauge is the thickest. I'm using the 20 gauge today for the projects that I'm doing. So usually when I get started, I'm going to unroll some of my wire, and then I'll just use a pair of nylon jaw pliers to pull that nice and straight to get going. And I like to look on the end and make sure that it's actually nice and flat. So I'm going to trim that with the flush side of my cutter so that it's nice and flat and straight. And then I can go ahead and get started with my project. So this time I'm going to start out by making these round jump rings. Then we're going to move on to the triangle rings, and then we'll make the connector, and I'll show you how to sort of put it all together. So starting out making those round rings, I'm going to use my Wubbers pliers. I'm using the larger of the two that Softflex Company sells, and I am using the largest mandrel. So I'm just going to hold on to the tip of that wire between the two pliers and just start turning. And as I spin, it's going to create some large jump rings for me. Now I only need a couple for this demonstration, and you could definitely do it more efficiently if you want to do a whole bunch at one time, but I don't really need that, so I'm just going to make a couple here. And I'm going to clip off the ends. There we go. And I could actually make 3 if I wanted to, but I really only need these 2. So I'm going to go ahead and take a pair of chain nose pliers. These are my Softflex chain nose pliers. And close that up. Now I'm going to look and make sure, did I get a flush cut on both sides? It looks like one is just a little beveled. So I'm just going to trim that off nice and flush so that those two ends can meet together just a little bit better. Now this is a really soft, pliable wire, so we're definitely going to work harden all of these pieces before we put it together. Again, I'm just going to look really closely. Do I have flat sides? I do have 2 flat sides on this one, so I'll go ahead and close those up so they're ready for the next step, the work hardening. We're going to do the triangles next, and for that we're using the triangle pair of Wubbers pliers, which look like this. They have 2 different sides, one smaller, one bigger, but they make triangle shapes, and I used a small and a big. So I'm going to make one of each. The trick that I learned with this is you actually want to start in the middle of one of the sides. So I'm actually going to just go halfway through the 2 pliers and hold on to it, and then I'm just going to bend around, move the pliers, bend around, move my pliers so I'm in the right position, and bend around till those 2 sides meet each other. And then what I can do is, again, using the flush side of my cutters, I cut to meet the other end and make sure that end is trimmed nice and flat too. And then I can take my chain nose pliers to make sure that those meet appropriately together, nice and flush. So there's my first one, and we're going to go on to the second one. Now we're making a bigger triangle for this bottom of this guy here. I'm going to trim the wire, and then I'm going to get in the middle again of my Wubbers pliers, kind of in the middle, and then I'm just going to bend around to make my triangle shape. Let me slide this in here. And my last side here. Pull it off. And again, I'm going to trim nice and flush so those 2 ends can meet together to create that beautiful third side of the triangle. So we've got our large, and right now we're going to work harden, because this middle piece actually sort of work hardens on its own because it is bent wire. So we're going to do these guys separately. Now this is a wire whacker. It's basically 2 nylon slabs. I am going to slam this down, so it's going to make a pretty loud noise, so be prepared. But what it does is it'll work harden the wire so that it gets stiff and it stays in the shape that we want. So I'm going to slam it down now. And that just sort of stiffens up the metal, hardens it out so it's going to stay in that shape a little bit more easily. And we're going to do our last piece, which is this connector that connects these 2 triangles together. These guys are up here, and then we just need a connector. So for that, what I did was, again, I'm going to run my nylon jaw pliers over the wire, because you want the wire to be nice and straight. And then I'm going to make sure my tip is flush. And I'm just going to measure 2.5 inches of wire. And if you do it exactly the same on each one, they're all going to look the same. So that's kind of a nice thing. As far as making this, I just sort of put my finger in the middle and found the 2 ends where they meet. And then I started to sort of bend it together enough that I could take my, again, triangle Wubbers, and I could use those to bend this completely in half. And they were really nice for this purpose because it's such like a big surface area. I really liked using those Wubbers for that. Okay, so once I have the wire bent in half, I'm going to go ahead and trim this end so the 2 ends meet each other a little bit more nicely. And then I'm going to use the smallest pair of Wubbers pliers that Soflex sells with the smallest bail. And starting on this side first, which is the folded side, I'm just going to fold this back to create a loop. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm just going to turn this back to create another loop for my connector. And that gives you a nice little connector that you can connect these guys with. So then all you have to do is open up your jump ring slide it onto your connector. Likewise, I'm going to open up this jump ring. I would connect to the fiber cord, the top, and then I want to connect this as well. And then close it back up, and you have got your cool little dangle with the fiber cord. So I had a ton of fun today on Facebook playing with our fiber cord. Since I didn't get to show the complete project, I thought I would go ahead and do a video here on YouTube. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you like our videos, please do subscribe to our YouTube page. That really helps you to see our videos that we add on a weekly basis here. So thank you for your time.